Hey guys, No Limit is so excited to welcome everyone to the first Table Talk. On Table Talk, we'll be talking about topics that a lot of times we are very uncomfortable to be talking about. But they are important that we do need to talk about. So today's Table Talk title is Is Premarital Sex Really Worth It? From kids to the next chapter of life of becoming teenagers, where puberty hit, with hormones going crazy, that is where the enemy want to attack the most. Because sex is a gift from God, and between a married man and a woman, in Hebrews 13 verse 4, marriage is to be honored by all that the marriage bed kept undefiled, because God would judge the sexual immorals and adulterers. So, tonight, my guest, who will be doing this now regularly, Matt Jeffries, give your opinion on premarital sex.
Well, I thoroughly agree with you. Premarital sex is meant between a man and woman that are married to each other. Let's see, in 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 3 through 5, says, "For this is God's will. Keep your sanctification, that you keep away from sexual immorality, that each of you knows how to control his own body in holiness and honor, not with lustful passions like the Gentiles who don't know God." So think about today's generation, the party crowd. Let's go and hook up with anybody and everybody every day, whoever we want to. First off, there is consequences for things like that. But we'll get to that here in a little bit. Sex is something that God gave us. It is a gift, again, between a married man and woman, and married to each other. And I'll get to that again here in just a minute. But to abstain. Christians before marriage, we are called into abstinence, and to abstain from something means to keep away from doing something, to avoid doing it, and we have to avoid any doors that could be opened into temptation that leads to sexual activity before marriage.
So, how do you abstain from sexual activities?
What I would suggest, things like gateways, doors that could lead to sexual activity, like cuddling, like kissing, and I mean like really kissing, not like a little peck on the cheek or a peck on the lips. In the wise words of Jensen Franklin, don't heat up the oven if you're not gonna bake anything. Don't get all hot and heated and everything if you're not going to do that, and you're not supposed to do that before marriage. That is forbidden, that is a sin. God told us not to do that for a reason. So abstain from sexual activity. You need to keep distance. Keep your mind occupied. Don't have it on your mind. If you need to separate from your significant other for a little bit, do that. Take some time, read the word, get your head in a different space, and then come back when you need to.
Okay, kind of like in 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 22, it says, "Stay away from every kind of evil." And James 4, verse 7, "Therefore, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." And so, like she said, you try to keep, away, even you have to keep distant from that special person. That way, it good for us, due to first work schedule. You're like outside of high school, you know what we're talking about. But like, I do my own ministry, and she does hers own. So
a good example of keeping our time occupied.
Because if you just like even if you had to get out of the bed go running or something. Or my best thing to go and worship or study the word, because you don't want to give the enemy any little inch to go in your mind about putting temptation in your mind. Because all forms of sinful, sexual, anything before marriage is a sin. Like, be honest, masturbating. That people think, okay, well, the old saying, well, I don't think of nobody when, you did it your own deed. But truth is, you are still lusting and you're still making a pleasure of your body and pleasure.
And to add to that, sexual immorality means sex with yourself, sex with somebody else. It means all of the above. So there is no way of getting out of it. Keep your mind occupied, keep your time occupied. Spend time with that special person in your life. But there are other things you can do. Like Justin mentioned, we have our own ministries. There's also things like we love to go to the movies. We love to go out to eat together. We do spend time alone together, but in that time, we keep an appropriate distance from each other. We're not all over each other. We hug and we do give each other a kiss, and that is in moderation. We keep things holy.
You don't have to just, ain't nothing wrong about being alone with somebody. But
it's what you do when you're alone. Remember to keep it holy.
Even if, be honest, if you feel like you can't trust somebody, like you can't trust yourself kissing, and you might have to start kissing, even something like that. Anyway,
distance yourself.
Any type of temptation, you can't handle something, then don't have it a loophole into temptation.
And don't think that you cannot ask the Lord for help. He did say, come to him and ask. If you don't ask, you can't receive. Forgive me, I didn't look up the verse. It just was put on my heart. But he did say, ask and you shall receive. He knows your heart. He knows your thoughts. He knows everything about you. He knows you better than you know yourself. So he knows what you're thinking. Go ahead and ask him for help. It's appropriate. Ask him.
Just like when a kid get in trouble, you need help from your parents. You disappoint your parents, but they sure love you. And that's how the Heavenly Father is. So you can go to him about anything. And another thing, to have your take on, how to stop from...
How to abstain?
Yeah, let's say you've been, having premarital sex for a while, you're a couple, and...
Well, that kind of leads us into our testimony. Would it be okay if I started off with that? Okay, so me and Justin started dating in October, and when we started dating, the Lord showed me that Justin was actually the one who I was supposed to be with. But he also told me in that we had to do things his way, that it was more of a suggestion. He advised me to keep things holy and do things the Lord's way. The Lord did. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. We weren't saved. It wasn't too long and we were sexually active. There's a lot of things that can go into that. You can, even in a dedicated, loyal relationship, you can still get heartbroken. There are many things that can factor into that. During that time, it took away from our dating life. Like, it drained the life out of our relationship. It made it feel less special. Sexual activity was something that I had put first by the end of it. and it was killing us. We almost broke up because of that. That's what we would do. We wouldn't really talk much. We didn't connect anymore. And is that really worth losing who you love? No. No, not at all. This is supposed to be your companion. You're supposed to serve the Lord together. So instead of losing him, I chose to submit to God. James 4:7, like Justin mentioned, says, "Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." So there is no little sin. Sin is sin, regardless. You have to put it down. There is no secret sin. So I had to lay that down, and it was not easy, because before I started dating Justin, I lived a very promiscuous life. I used sex as a gateway, as a gateway, yes, but as some people struggle with drugs or alcohol, that's what I use sex as, an escape. And let me tell you the heartache that I suffered. And let me tell you, in Numbers 32:23, it says, "But if you don't do this, you will certainly sin against the Lord. Be sure your sin will catch up with you." My father used to tell me all the time, "Madison, be sure that your sin will find you out." He would tell us these things in order to help us stay on the right path. This is not to scare anybody. But this goes for couples who are married, and one of those people might be having an affair. Your sin will find you out. It will. These little, I say kids, but it wasn't long ago that I was a teenager. These teenagers sneaking out and going and having hookups. There are so many consequences that you could face, and they're very real. Not only could people find out, you could get heartbroken, but you can also contract an STD, a sexually transmitted disease. Some of these things can follow you for the rest of your life, and you do not want to go down that road. You do not. It is better to submit to the Lord. And plus, you could face whether you are married and having an affair, or you're in a loyal relationship like we were, and we're just having sex before marriage, even though we knew it was wrong. We were being selfish, and we were not listening to the Lord. I almost lost him, and I did not want to lose him. God had given me my best friend for a boyfriend, and in the future, a husband. And I did not want to lose that.
I mean, I go like, we prayed when we first got together, October 2nd, and, 3rd, because it was like midnight, and we wanted for a God-based relationship, which easily turned into a not God-based relationship. So we kind of just did what we wanted, started having sex and drinking, all kind of crazy stuff, and then finally it got to the point a week, the Friday before we came to Way Alive, we got in the worst argument where basically it was to the point where we're about to break up. And for some reason, so that Sunday we decided to come here to Way Alive, and we started changing, and we see a lot more now where our relationship growed. Because nothing with the enemy will make nothing grow. Because the enemy is going to make you think it is, oh, well, it's fun to have sex, or, well, it's okay to go cheat, no one's going to find out. But then the first thing when you do, the enemy's going to be the worst person on you.
And he might tell you things like, oh, you're missing out, you're boring, you need a life. Let me tell you, God did not mean for us to have sex before marriage. That is for the covenant of marriage, for the confines of marriage between a man and a woman. Imagine, this is the way the world society looks at sex today. Take a cake. What really holds it together? If I'm not mistaken, it's the eggs. It kind of holds everything together. So without the eggs, what's the cake? People today in our generation look at sex like the eggs in the cake that keeps the whole relationship together. It does not. It is supposed to be based on, are you two compatible for marriage? Because dating was meant for marriage. That's why you date, not just to have fun, not just for recreational sex. Sex is between a married man and a married woman, to each other, of course, and sex is like the icing on the cake. It is like the garnish on a dish. It's supposed to add a little something to it. It's not the foundation.
Well, I think we covered about everything. So, next week we're doing a series with this. Today, we talk about sex, premarital sex. Next week we'll be talking about dating, and then we're going to be talking into engagement and marriage, and go from there. I hope y'all enjoyed the first table talk, and thank you, Madison, for being part of it. So it's gonna be a little change plan. So every 2 weeks we will have a table talk, and the between weeks it will be a series with dramas. Kind of have more into the ministry. So I hope y'all had a great weekend, and we'll see y'all next time.